I'm going to tell you about a story about a guy named Tom. Tom was a big dreamer, big plans, but had a big problem, and in the process, underlined one of the greatest truths Jesus ever told. Stick around, I'll tell you about it. Tom was a guy who was rich. He was so rich that in 1905, when the rest of the country traveled around on train, Tom bought his own train. Tom used his wealth to build businesses, but also to build real estate. He would buy tracts of land, develop subdivisions in California and Oregon. It was that one day Tom was hunting outside in Oregon, and he discovered this piece of land. What you'll see is the ocean's on one side, the bay's on the other, and sitting in the middle yielded an incredible view, an incredible experience. And Tom decided, I'm not just going to build a town here, I'm going to build an incredible resort town for the rich. And he built a town called Bayocean, with the bay on one side, the ocean on the other. And in order to get people here, Tom bought the biggest yacht on the West Coast and brought people in on his yacht to visit Bayocean. Think of the genius that Tom was. So he charged people to come in on the boat, he charged people to come in on the train, and once they were there, he charged them to stay in his hotel, he charged them to swim in a swimming pool, and then he charged them to buy land so that they could live there in this resort town. The swimming pool Tom built was amazing. The only thing like it in the country. It was the first indoor wave pool in the country in 1905. It was heated. Inside the same building was a movie theater. Now, you may not think that's a big deal, but at this time, in 1905, there was only one other real movie theater in the country. That was on the East Coast, and it housed 100 people at a time. Tom's movie theater brought in 1,000 people at a time. Tom was the big dreamer. With all of Tom's genius and all of his foresight and planning ahead, Tom forgot one little detail. Check out this picture. What do you see a lot of in this image? Sand. Tom built Bayocean entirely on a sand dune. And over the course of the years, the environment changed for a number of different reasons. But Bayocean, little by little, every house that was built started to fall into the ocean. Everything was lost. All the investments people had were lost. Tom's great vision washed into the sea. This is a great reminder of Matthew chapter 7. For everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who builds his house on a rock. The rain came down, the stream rose, the winds blew and beat against the house, yet it did not fall, because it had a foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. The rock is the words of Christ. Think about that. Not just to get to know who we think Jesus is, but to actually get to know who he is based on what he said. By spending time in his word, spending time in his teaching, we get to know who Jesus really is, and that's a foundation we can build our life on. Bayocean today is just this spit of land here. No houses, no roads, nothing. Just, it's a bird sanctuary. One day, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, someone may put your picture up on a slide, and as they talk about you, will they talk about the exploits that you had and the successes that you had? Or will they look at you and say, this is somebody who built his house or her house on a rock, and she believed in Jesus Christ with all of her heart, and everything else doesn't matter.